Unsolved and Unseen, the podcast where the shadows hold secrets and the unspeakable waits to be discovered. From chilling mysteries to forgotten tales, join us as we uncover the stories the world has left behind. Are you ready to step into the unknown?
I found this murderer named Sovereign. What people were warning other people about on the Appalachian Trail. And he was fucking insane. When they went through his whole childhood, he just like didn't have a chance, like from the beginning. Like he was going to be a serial killer from like day one.
Just like old Carl Panzram.
It's like old Carl Panzram.
He's
Yeah.
gonna stay in my heart forever.
His name is crazy. It's like very fun to say.
Yeah.
Carl Panzram. Is that your favorite? Mine's Ed Gein.
Name?
No. Like case.
I would have to go with Albert Fish, honestly,
God.
because he's just such a departure from humanity. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, he's like the devil.
It's fucking crazy. I mean, even though Carl Panzram was like, he wasn't as fucked up about it.
Yeah.
Albert Fish was like truly a demented individual. Like he had the same, but he wasn't even like, I hate everyone. It was just doing him. Like he was just doing his fucking.
Doing him was eating like children's balls.
Yeah, but also Albert Fish, he had like, I think he had some of the coolest nicknames too. Like I don't know who's giving serial killers nicknames.
They need to stop doing that.
Yeah, well, they need to get back to like the cool ones because like Albert Fish, as fucked up as he was, he had some dope ass nicknames.
Oh my god.
The Gray Man.
Yeah.
The Werewolf of Wisteria.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
The Boogeyman. Are you kidding me?
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Literally, don't gas him. Like, that's gassing him. That's crazy.
Oh, what was it? There was one more. All right.
I don't know.
I'll look it up now.
He was horrifying and disgusting. And that's probably the worst case I've ever heard. And I've had nightmares about it. Actually, no. The scariest one I heard ever was the Golden State Killer. And I had nightmares about that for like 2 weeks.
Oh, we have to do a Golden State Killer.
Okay.
There's so much stuff.
Okay. Can I have that one?
Yeah. And the cool part is that I think in large part it was solved like online by like online communities. There's like people giving tips and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. So Patton Oswalt's wife wrote a book. I think this is true. Patton Oswalt's wife was writing a book where she was documenting her trying to solve the Golden State Killer murder, right? Well, because they hadn't caught him like in recent years, like 2015 or something.
Yeah.
She passed away. I think she had cancer, and so he like continued her work, and he actually like helped catch him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Fucking insane to like catch a serial killer they couldn't catch for 50 years.
Yeah, that is pretty wild. It's just, I think it's kind of unfortunate that like some serial killer does so much fucked up stuff, and then they don't get caught till they're like basically done with their life, anyways.
Oh yeah, it's
terrible. Still fucked up.
They're like old as fuck. They're like, I got away with it, bitch.
Yeah, word.
I feel like I'm dying tomorrow.
Yeah, word. Like I don't really care that much.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Do you want to hear something really weird?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Well.
we'll get to it.
Well.
We'll get to it.
Yeah. What would happen if you took someone you love to the hospital and like everyone started freaking out and there was like a news story about it? How would you feel about that?
If everyone started freaking out?
Well, I feel like when like true crime happens, people don't know it's going to be true crime. And so now your tea is just like on the internet. People are like, this couple murdered each other. And someone's like, that's my aunt and uncle. Like, it's viral right now. Yeah.
I mean, no, I couldn't use it to make a buck online.
No.
I feel like any sort of fame nowadays, like there's really that draw of like, I could make a bunch of TikToks about it.
Yeah.
And see if I can get sponsored. But no, if it was a loved one, yeah, I'd be super worried, especially if people are freaking. Like if doctors and like hospital people, like professional healthcare folks are freaking out, I am beside myself.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they're scared, we should be scared.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
like COVID.
Exactly like COVID.
That was scary.
That was scary. We thought we were all gonna die.
Yeah.
Yeah. He vaccinated.
Are you supposed to get the booster shots? I never got those.
I don't know.
I got 2. I got the Pfizer one, which I think is the one that's like causing heart problems.
That's what I got.
Yeah.
I already have heart problems.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Super safe. Yeah.
We're not gonna make it that long.
No, we won't.
Okay. It's fine.
You're really dark.
Why do you ask?
Because I'm gonna tell you about something.
Let's hear it.
Okay. So, in 19.
How about that transition though?
Really good?
Yeah.
Okay. So in 1994, there's a woman named Gloria Ramirez. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. She had cervical cancer. Okay.
Mm.
And you know, when you have like cancer, like if you get sick, it's like a big deal. Like you just, you're in hospitals a lot. Like your immune system is not up to par. Like when you're healthy. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah. You're like your body is like trying to recover, and
Yeah.
it takes a lot.
So it's really scary, and like you have to pay attention to that.
Yeah.
Okay. So at 8:15 p.m., she's experiencing like these weird symptoms, and she doesn't feel good. She's really sick. She goes to the California Hospital of Riverside General.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, in California.
In
You
California.
just said that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I recognize Riverside.
You love California.
Yeah, I'm such a Cali boy.
You're such a
All right,
Cali
keep going.
Okay. She's having a rapid heart rate, low blood pressure, confusion, and difficulty breathing.
And we already know she has cancer, right?
Yeah, she has cancer. And so they're probably thinking like, okay, so obviously this is bad, but maybe we can like do something. Maybe it's an effect of the cancer.
Right.
Right. They're not thinking it has
Just like some kind of side effect, maybe.
Yeah, like they're
let's
really
just get
not
her in.
sure.
Let's just get her into the ER.
Yeah, just to make
Let
sure.
them sort it out.
Let's check on her.
Gotcha.
Okay. So she goes into the ER. She's seen by doctors. She is covered in an oily substance, and they don't know what it is. Like the doctors are like, "Why is she shiny?"
Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay, so that's one of the reasons she went in. They're like,
yeah,
she's sweating oil.
yeah.
Okay.
And they're like touching her, and they're like, "This is weird."
Yeah.
Yeah, she's covered in an oily substance, and you know when they check you, they have to like take your temperature. They do all your vitals. They
Mhm.
check your blood pressure. They take your temperature, like all of the things. They're like getting close to her face, and they like her breath smells like garlic, but also like fruit.
Interesting.
Yeah, which I don't think you would think that much of that if you were a doctor.
No,
I'd be like, maybe she has some fruit garlic.
yeah.
Maybe she's eating strawberries and garlic. I don't fucking know.
No, I think there's like some diabetics. I think when they're having like an attack or something, their breath smells like really, really sweet.
Really?
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
pretty sure. I don't
that's
know. Check me
spooky.
if I'm wrong.
Jesus. Okay.
Get in the frame.
No, really.
Get in the frame. There you go.
Spooky.
That's better.
Okay. So her breath smells like fruity garlic, and so the different doctors are checking her out, right?
hmm
There's a doctor named Dr. Melanie, and she's an emergency room resident, and she was the first to treat her. And I can't even fucking imagine what it's like to be a nurse. Like you see like the weirdest shit like all the time. Like these people
Yeah.
are used to seeing like the most gross, crazy shit anyone's like ever seen.
Mhm.
So can you imagine like you're working with your colleagues and you're like, yeah, like, oh, this lady kind of smells weird, she's kind of greasy, like I don't know. And well, you know, and they're like,
We got another
yeah,
greasy
she's
one.
fine. They're like, yeah, she's like passes the fuck out.
The nurse?
Yes, the nurse passes
Oh, the
out.
nurse passes out.
Yes.
So she's the
They're
intake
working on her.
nurse.
Yes, the intake nurse.
Okay.
They're working on her, and like it's multiple people. So one was Dr. Melanie, another one was Susan Kane.
Wait, Dr. Melanie passed out?
Yes,
Okay.
she passed out.
Okay.
Susan Kane was a respiratory therapist, and she also experienced fainting. So everyone's just like,
What's so funny?
the fuck? Funny, but it's fucking insane. Everyone is.
And get this, she dropped dead.
Can you imagine like being at work and then like you just walk in to everyone's just like passed out?
That'd be crazy.
What the fuck is going on in
That
here?
would be wild.
It's
Yeah.
absolutely crazy.
Especially first respond. Like I feel because like they're kind of first
You
responders,
know what
right?
I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
really
And
bad.
first responders they're pretty freaking resilient most of
Yeah.
the time. You know?
Imagine how terrified you'd be like as a doctor or a nurse. Like your
Yeah.
coworkers who help people live are passed the fuck out.
Right.
Multiple of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she was a respiratory therapist and she experienced fainting. She actually drew Gloria's blood, right? So they obviously had to take her blood because they're like, too much is go. Like, we don't know what's happening with this lady. Like,
Mhm.
she's experiencing like all of these like really like seemingly fatal like symptoms. So we really need to check on her. So they draw her blood and they find these like manila particles in her blood. So they're drawing her blood.
And there's manila
particles in it. And her blood also has
Okay.
it's emanating like a strange odor.
Okay.
Yeah. And so that causes also Susan to pass out, which I kind of get that. If I smelled someone's blood and it smelled weird, I don't know how I'd handle that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
If it smelled a lot different than everybody else's blood you've ever smelled
Right.
before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that would like really, really creep me out. She said her face was burning. Like imagine smelling someone's blood and you're like, you're a doctor, by the way. You've like seen the grossest
Yeah.
shit. You're like, and then your face starts burning and she
Mhm.
like passed out. And then there was a nurse who developed muscle weakness and also hepatitis, which I don't know if that's related. I have no idea. But that's what she developed as related to this case.
Okay. So all right. So
Documented.
she immediately started to feel weak, and then we later find out that she had hepatitis.
Right.
That might have just been a coincidence.
It might, maybe.
She tried to attribute to this case.
Maybe. We'll never know. I believe her, honestly. And yeah, she was also there to witness the manila particles floating in the blood. And she began shaking and experiencing apnea.
Wait, apnea?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, like she was not able to breathe.
oh,
Which is really fucking like I can't imagine like you can't breathe.
yeah.
And everyone's passing out and I can't breathe. Like
That'd
it's
be
like
insane.
yeah, it's really terrifying.
Gotcha.
There was also someone named Maureen Welsh who was a respiratory therapist and she could not control her limbs. So she's just knocking people out. I'm just kidding. Yeah,
Okay.
she was having limb spasms.
Interesting.
Yeah,
So
it's like-
okay, so there's 4 people that are now having symptoms.
it's more than 4. It was like quite a chunk of the hospital experiencing things ranging from fainting, breathing problems. Some people were in the hospital for several days after this. Like they
okay,
they
so
were
what's the time period we're talking about?
heavily affected.
So within like the first couple of hours,
Yes.
we have our first people like experiencing symptoms.
Yes, this happened very quickly. It didn't take that long.
Okay.
Like it was throughout the visit, and the visit wasn't that long. It was a few hours, and Gloria was experiencing these things. The doctors are checking on her, like no surgery is being performed. Like they're literally just doing her like vitals and things, and
Yeah.
like taking her blood. And at this point where they're just taking her blood, like people are passing out,
That's okay.
and it's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Maureen said that she heard a scream and just passed out, which that sounds terrifying. That sounds like
Yeah, the
the
respiratory.
apocalypse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So a lot of people were affected
Mm.
by this lady. And so she just came in and we still don't know what's happening to her.
Right.
We haven't got to the bottom of it yet because several people have just anyone
Dropping
that
like
gets
flies.
near her. Yeah. There's pandemonium. People are freaking out. So obviously they have to evacuate the hospital for the safety of like the people, the doctors, the
Yeah.
nurses, and also the patients because they don't know what's happening. They've never experienced anything like this before.
Mm. I feel like you'd want to quarantine instead of evacuate,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. But that's what they thought to do. They said, let's get
Okay.
like it does make sense to be like, well, maybe we should put Gloria somewhere. Are we leaving people?
Yeah.
But instead they were like, everybody get out. Like
Yeah.
Gloria stays here. Yeah. Yeah, they evacuated the hospital.
Okay.
And
I imagine. Oh my gosh, trying to evacuate a hospital would be the worst.
there's people with IVs hooked up to them.
Yeah.
There's people who are like in the middle of peeing in a cup. Like people are mid heart surgery. They're like, no, everyone has to get the fuck
Yeah.
out.
Get the
Yeah.
fuck out.
And this was the emergency room, by the way.
There's
So
like
not heart surgery, but
Okay.
you know.
Oh,
Like,
so they
people-
only evacuate the emergency room, or do they evacuate the whole hospital?
I actually don't know. But yeah, but that is also like really, really scary to me. Like your arm's broken And they're like, you have to evacuate, because that's where you would go, the emergency room, if you're in an emergency. There's an emergency happening on top of your emergency that you came in for. It's like, yeah.
Emergencyception.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. Because I feel like hospitals use like there's people that need hospital power. Like you need power to like beat your heart for. I don't know what, like if you're on life support. They have to have there has to be some kind of contingency, right? Where
Yeah.
like, oh, we have our fucking rolling generator that will keep this person alive for 12 hours.
They had to jerry rig that shit. Like they had to figure it out.
Yeah.
They were like, I don't know, we're evacuating.
Yikes.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
So
terrifying.
so they're evacuating. They
Yeah.
evacuate the hospital.
They evacuate the hospital.
What do they do with Gloria?
She's still in there. She's like passed out.
Oh, so okay, everybody out except for Gloria. We're gonna keep her in.
Gloria's in the hospital. Yeah.
Gotcha.
They don't take her because that would just like,
Mhm.
but like everyone's all like, it's all fucked up. Like the doctors are like, they're like, now we have several, like, it's just like several more emergencies than it's like never ending, they don't know what to do. They're like beside themselves and like terrified.
Sure.
Yeah. So, and this also lasted like a few, like, weeks for some people. Like people didn't like recover immediately. Like some of the people's symptoms that experienced this, like the doctors that passed out, they were in the hospital themselves for like a long time after this. Yeah, which is terrifying. And they still don't know why. They don't know why.
Wait, what?
They don't know why that happened. They have no idea.
What was it? Did anybody do any like research or?
Yeah, they did an investigation. They consulted public health officials and toxicologists to analyze the situation. Right. So
okay, good. That's what I would do.
Yes. One of the theories
I
is
was in
that
charge.
one of the theories is that it was exposure to dimethyl sulfur. So
okay.
Yeah, which if you look it up, it's not really believable. They really don't know. They were like, I don't know, maybe she took something and it made her blood all weird and then everyone was allergic to it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. So they
it's
don't
just
know.
a mystery.
Yeah, it's a mystery.
I don't know what happened to this lady. How about the other people? What was there?
I mean, they eventually recovered, but they like were obviously traumatized because like how do they get closure when they don't know why it happened?
Right.
Yeah, so they healed, but
okay.
For some of them it took a while, and
so
to this day we don't know.
So there's just this dimethyl sulfone out there.
Yeah, whatever it's called.
That can cause an entire pandemic in a hospital.
It wasn't just that. They were saying like whatever the oily sheen that was on her body, they think it seeped through her skin and mixed with something else she was taking, which is why there was manila particles in her blood. And they think they think that combination of chemicals like on her skin and inside of her created like a toxic effect, which made everybody pass out. But like
that's crazy.
That feels like I mean, I get why they came to that conclusion, but that feels like a reach. I don't know. That feels like just searching for anything.
Sounds like a chem bio weapon.
Yeah.
What are the leading theories on this? Are there any conspiracy theories? Because I feel like somebody could be like, yeah, she was a Russian agent or something like that.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of conspiracy. The main one is that like she she put on like that oil and her blood became toxic because she was taking like a supplement or something. Yeah, that's one of them. Yeah, that's like no one.
That's it.
Yeah, no
mystery.
No one knows. People have all kinds of theories.
Yeah.
Like the most insane theories.
What do you think happened?
I actually don't know. I think I kind of agree with the blood mixture thing, but okay, here's the main theory, okay? It's that it was mass hysteria. So like, you know how you work in a restaurant and everybody's like overly codependent? Because you trauma bond, right? Like you experience stress and everybody is like connected to each other. Imagine the level of trauma bonding when you like save lives every day.
I didn't trauma bond with anybody that I worked with actually when I was in a restaurant.
Okay.
They were
there's other more extreme examples. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's jobs that are like such high stress. Like if you're an EMT or something and like you get close to somebody at work or even like you're just used to seeing them, you trust them, and something really like scary happens to you, there's like a trauma bond.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are that connected to somebody and let's say someone passed out for reasons not even connected to Gloria, right? Like maybe they just like had low blood sugar or like they're too sleep overworked, they passed out. if you are in a high stress situation and you see someone you trust and rely on to keep you grounded, passed out, maybe that could cause you pain.
Mm,
And then maybe the next person walks in a room and sees 2 of their colleagues pass the fuck out. It smells weird as shit in that room, and then you pass the fuck out. You know what I mean?
yeah. Okay. So is that like one of the main mechanisms of mass hysteria then? Does it like kind of rely on people knowing each other and like having bonds with each other?
No, it doesn't have to. There's a mass hysteria in France where people like danced until they died.
Well,
Yeah, like they literally like, oh, that guy's dancing, and like everyone like it just like did it.
they all started dancing.
Yeah.
I feel like that's such a French story. How French of them.
Yeah.
And we danced until we died. But I think that was German, but whatever. You get the idea.
Yeah, you know, like why is the French mass hysteria so cunty?
Uh,
Oh God,
They all had
they're
cigarettes.
smoking cigarettes. Yeah. Oh God. But yeah, I think it has a lot to do with a circumstance of the situation. Every mass hysteria does, but I think it was mass hysteria, and I think like it was the right combination. It was like a series of unfortunate events. Like
Yeah.
this lady came in, and like one person was like kind of put off by it, and then it just like caused like a trickle effect. That is
Okay.
the main theory, and then other people are like, her blood was weird, it smelled weird, but I don't really believe that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
But so like the toxicology report, all it showed was or is it like did it get sealed by the family or
So because she had cervical cancer, she died due to the complications of her surgical cancer.
wait,
Cervical,
hang on.
not surgical, cervical cancer.
So she okay, so she went to the hospital for all these crazy symptoms.
Yeah, which the symptoms, like her smell is weird and like what's on her is weird,
Yeah.
but it's really like, oh, like her heart was beating too fast and like
Okay.
she was not breathing correctly. Like those things like are pretty common
Sure.
and could have literally been from the cancer. She just also happened to smell weird and
Oh.
like was oily and stuff, you know?
Hmm.
And there were like particles in her blood.
Sure, because that happens.
Yeah.
I wonder, did somebody poison her?
They could have.
See, I feel like this is where, because I feel like that's a good conspiracy theory. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, she was like some foreign national sent in by a government
Yeah.
with some like lab grown toxin, and they just wanted to see what would happen.
Yeah.
Like a small scale, you know?
Yes. I feel like it did seem like biological weaponry. You know what I mean? Like they
Yeah.
like someone but
But everybody had different symptoms too, right?
yes, they did. Like
Yeah.
not controlling their limbs. Like a lot of people passed out, but some people were like, no, I couldn't walk for like after that I couldn't walk for like
Right.
weeks. Yeah, so yeah, the symptoms were different of everybody.
They're
And
all over the place.
all over the
There's no
place.
like rhyme or reason
no,
really.
the face burning, like I
Yeah.
think that is like clear cut mass hysteria.
Yeah.
Because it depends on like what you would be most drawn to as a person. Like that would be like what you're I don't know how it works, but like
Yeah.
maybe if you're super scared of having like heart palpitations, that's what you would experience in that
Yeah.
situation.
hmm
You know what I mean?
I think I would be the one having heart palpitations, to be honest.
I would I would think I was having heart attack.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh my god, like chill out.
Yeah.
It's not about you.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
But yeah, they did extensive investigations as they could.
Mhm.
Like obviously after the fact. How do you even investigate that? Like
I wonder if they took everybody else's blood and like tested it.
I actually don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know that. But like also like with mass hysteria, like once the people get back into like I feel like a regulatory environment, maybe the symptoms would have worn off. So like what would you even have to document?
Maybe, but if it was a toxin, then after a certain amount of time, like the toxin's gone. Your body clears it out.
Right.
Right. So like
Yeah, there
if
was
I was in charge.
yeah.
Just should be
I agree.
of everything. I would be like, all right, let's get a toxicology report for like everybody that was involved. And it's not symptoms.
Yeah.
Like Gloria first, obviously.
Yes.
And so they were just like, oh yeah, she just died of her cancer.
They're like, well, guys, she had cancer, and it's like, did you not hear what we just said?
Yeah, that's like what they did with COVID, where like somebody that died in a car crash but
Yeah.
also had COVID. They're like, yeah, they died of COVID. Like, what are you talking about?
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
that's not
Yeah.
not how that
It
works.
was absolutely bananas.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
They don't know. It was like no face, no case. Like they couldn't like they didn't know. Yeah.
Hmm.
And so it's still a mystery to this day, but it's super creepy.
Okay.
And every time I smell fruity garlic, I feel really nauseous. And also, I feel very bad for her family because they don't know why their mom died, and people have all these
Yeah,
theories
all
now.
this conspiracy theories
Conspiracies
and
as
stuff.
to how she died.
Interesting. That was good. That was
God
a good
bless them.
story.
Yes.
Thank you, Summer.
You're welcome.
Appreciate
I'll tell you some weird shit anytime.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Thank you. All right, so this is our section.
Mm-hmm.
We call it Tequila Talks.
Okay.
So welcome to your first Tequila Talk. Yay! And since we are sober for the next week,
Okay.
instead of tequila, I'm drinking a White Claw Surge cranberry. It's delicious. And Summer has got a Mountain Dew Hard. And as you can probably tell, we've been enjoying it for the entire episode. So we're well and faithfully about most of the way through this one.
Yeah.
Summer's about halfway through that one. So welcome to Tequila Talks. So this is going to be about Appalachia. Appalachia is a region in the United States that it extends, it's a mountain range, and it extends from like New York-ish. I'm getting this wrong. I'm not good at geography, but like New York-ish to, I would say, probably like central North Carolina.
Okay.
It's this big, huge mountain range. I don't know how it compares like in size to the Rockies, which is the mountain range on the West Coast, but it's pretty big.
Yeah.
And it's notorious for mysterious things and supernatural events and just being like generally scary and like
Spooky.
and weird. Yeah. Spooky. And it's kind of like characterized by these really like dark, deep woods.
Yeah.
Right? Backcountry people that have been living for multiple generations in number one, poverty.
Yeah.
And number two, almost complete, I want to say not complete isolation, because they still, they need support, like, I don't know, electricity and whatnot.
Right.
Like almost like some, and there are some like very, very small towns and communities that are almost 100% self-sufficient.
Okay.
So they like get their water from the creek.
Yeah.
And they have their own generators for the town, and like they don't leave and nobody comes to visit them because they're just so far off the reservation. And it's due in large part to the topography of this particular mountain range, but it lends itself to a very very like spooky, creepy place. And so that's what this Tequila Talk is going to be about. And
love it.
So what I really want to do, it's kind of difficult. It was difficult for me when I was researching Appalachia to like legitimately find a lot of good sources about creepy stuff that happened that wasn't like clearly sensationalized, I guess.
Yeah.
Right. So like there's some weird things, but they're pretty easily explained, and they also typically you can tell where they've been elaborated on. And yeah, so like Sasquatch, for example, right? Sasquatch is a staple of like Appalachian folklore and mythology. But it's been so, elaborated on and faked and all this stuff so many times, and it's people almost kind of like raise it to this fairy tale status, which I think takes away from how spooky Appalachia is. And if you live in Appalachia, don't worry, I will redeem your region. It's not all like weird and crazy and creepy and everything. And there are reasons for why everybody thinks that.
Yeah.
So the best source actually that I found for like really weird stories and like unexplained happenings was Reddit. So it's just like went on Reddit. Yeah, I went on Reddit and I searched a couple of like, spooky Appalachia stories, and there's a few weird ones in there. And so I'll read the good ones, and any of the not good ones we can like cut out of the episode. Yeah. But so so like I'll immediately dispel all the supernatural rumors for Appalachia. There's a few reasons why like we think it's just kind of shrouded in mystery and spookiness, is because number one, Appalachia is like somehow, I don't know how this works, but somehow it's like one of the oldest places on planet Earth. And I think it's like as plates and stuff like shifted around, and like you remember Pangea from class,
Yes.
right? So like
From class.
right?
From class.
Class or the song, the little Nicki song works
Yeah.
too with it.
Pangea.
Yeah, but like land is always kind of shifting, and new shit is being created sometimes when plates like mush together, and
Yeah.
then whatever. But Appalachia, like for whatever reason, it just has kind of like been there, and
Since
not
Pangea?
yeah, and yes, yeah, and yeah, and not a lot has changed on this like particular section. So it's
That's crazy.
yeah, so it's just like kind of been in the middle, and like all the plate tectonics and shifting and stuff has like been around it. Like it's been in the middle of a plate for a long time.
Oh, I don't fuck with that. That's
Yeah.
weird.
So it's like literally one of the oldest places on planet Earth. Is by like on the order of tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of years old. And so just like that alone, right? Knowing how much stuff has probably gone on in Appalachia, because like recorded history is only, I think, what, like 500,000 years? That's
No.
recorded history. Humans have been around for, I think, 2 to 5 million. So there's
Okay.
like a bunch of prehistory, and then like before that, we don't actually know. Like we got fossils, and so that's what
Yeah.
we call anthropology. That's what anthropology is studying. So like
Yeah.
trying to figure everything out. But like a lot of shit has gone on Appalachia that nobody will ever know,
Yeah.
ever, which is crazy.
That's terrifying. And you
Yeah.
can still visit that place. Like it's not like dirt now. Like you can still visit the place that
Yeah.
holds all those mysteries.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
Yeah, and like I don't know, a lot of people, and I think rightly so. I think a lot of people think that land can hold memories and can hold energy, right? In fact, it's really important. And uh Nate, like when well, I mean, I guess Native American, I don't know, I don't even know how long Native Americans have been living in North America.
Yeah.
I'm presuming for thousands and thousands of years. I mean, there's been like a lot of migration and stuff around, but like Native Americans are the people that we know have settled prior to like the colonization of the United States. But their land is like sacred to them.
Yeah.
And it's like tied to a lot of spirituality. And obviously in the case of Native Americans, land is tied to a lot of trauma too. And so like one of the really famous ones that is specifically tied to Appalachia is the Trail of Tears, where a lot of Native Americans perished in the colonization of the United States. And so land holds memories.
Yes.
And the mountains have been around for so long.
That's a lot of memories.
Yeah, it's a lot of memories. And a lot of people, that kind of freaks some people out, right?
Freaks me out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like, we don't really know.
No.
We don't really know. And there's like,
shit.
yeah, there's like omens and stuff, and like, oh, an owl, that's might be a spirit or something like that. So that's one. It's like spiritually, a lot of stuff has gone on these mountains for a very, very large portion of history, and we don't really know. And the stuff that we do know has kind of like been terrible. A lot of people perish in those mountains, and there's a lot of unmarked graves and whatnot. So that's one reason. And so after like the U.S. kind of like took over, the United States of America took over this region, Appalachia is very resource rich. And we kind of figured that out. The only problem is that it's not very accessible.
Okay.
It's not accessible, and it doesn't support like large groups of people, because there's not any like big water sources. It's really hard to like build rails or pipelines or whatever through like legitimate mountains. Like it's difficult, and a lot of times it's just not worth it. But there's still a lot of resources there, right? So we have to send people in to like extract those resources so we can make money as a country. And one of like a couple of like really big industries was logging, and mining. So companies, right, back in like the 1800s, they would set up what we know as company towns, and excuse me, and it would be like
Period.
a couple hundred or a couple thousand people that are dedicated to like a couple of mines, right? Or like a section of trees that you're logging.
Yeah.
And they're like typically they would be very, very poor. Like they're all laborers, right? And so they're like extracting these resources and sending them to some suit at the top that's making all the money. So they're very poor people. They're very poorly educated, so there's a lot of like folklore that can go around, a lot of tales,
Right.
a lot of honestly a lot of cautionary tales that people tell their kids, like, don't do this, otherwise the boogeyman will get you. And
Right.
if the kid doesn't go to school or is not very educated, they're just like always going to think that. So there's like stories that you're telling your kids, they're just like, oh wait,
I think it's like history.
yeah. So
Yeah.
you'll be like 50 years old and you'll be like, the boogeyman's gonna get you if you do that. And people are like, what are you talking about? Boogeyman?
Well, boogeyman.
Like, oh yeah, your parents didn't tell you about the boogeyman? Blah 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 blah. And so like stories kind of start circulating like that, and some of them are like cautionary tales, or like, hey, crows mean death. It's like, well, no, crows are scavengers. Like if there's dead bodies around, they're just gonna be there.
Right.
So there's a lot of stuff like this that kind of like goes hand in hand with not very robust infrastructure, i.e. education.
Yeah.
And then so kind of like going off of the company town, like, right, like companies, they make money, but they also go out of business.
Yes.
So if a company town goes out of business, all the workers, like, you got to leave, you got to go find another job, right? Or you start just kind of camping in the middle of the woods, right? Because typically these towns are like really, really far away from civilization, and
Yeah.
they get resupplied like once every couple months or something like that. And so you start living in the woods maybe.
Mhm.
And or you just completely abandon everything and go back to the real world where you can find another labor job. So there's like a bunch of, and still to this day, there's a bunch of like unexplored, abandoned company towns, whether it's in from the logging industry or whether it's from the mining industry.
Mhm.
Of these companies that just go out of business and they can't fund a town anymore,
An entire town.
and it's just completely abandoned. Everybody just leaves. Like they leave all their stuff, right? Because
Yeah.
you're trying to like traverse through mountains. You want to try to stay as light as possible.
My favorite. Sorry, not to cut you off.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
My favorite creepypasta, and like the best one I've ever heard,
Mm-hmm.
is about a company town that got shut down, and so they found unconventional ways of like making that money for the town again.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Baraska.
Ooh.
Do you know Baraska?
No.
I believe they were a logging town, and they had this sawmill that they would use. Or maybe it was coal mining. It was one of the two, but they had to shut down. They weren't being like profitable anymore, so they started a baby farm. And like the way
Oh my god.
it's fucked, and the way it's like written, like you don't obviously know that at the beginning, but it's like very tied in with like what the company used to do.
Hmm.
And the kids are like, oh, the water tastes weird here, and like we always hear the sawmill at night, and it just like goes on for like, it's really long. It's like 3 hours long, and at the end, it's a creepypasta that someone wrote and posted on Reddit about a company town that like had to shut down.
Yeah.
And so that's what I think. Like they were like secluded in the same way, like in Appalachia. Not to say, you know what I mean, but I'm just like, that's what it like reminds me of, like that kind of seclusion.
Yeah.
Where like in the whole town kept it a secret because like they needed the money and like they didn't have any access to like the outside.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was fucking crazy. It just reminded me of that.
Yeah, no, I mean that's like one of the biggest. I think that's one of the biggest things that adds to the creepiness is the isolation. Is that because you can walk through the woods of Appalachia, and if you hear weird sounds or whatever, like it could just be somebody that lives in the woods, which is creepy in and of itself. But like kind of like given the history, like it kind of makes sense.
People make weird sounds.
Yeah, exactly. And there's also like animals make weird sounds.
You're like in the woods, and you're, hey yo,
hey,
you're like,
hey yo. Yeah, if you're in the if you're in the woods and you hear your name, you didn't. If you're in the woods and you hear Ayo, you didn't.
You didn't hear Ayo. That was a fucking skinwalker.
But yeah, so like, not to dispel any rumors or myths, but I like in some of my research and stuff on, most of it was on Reddit, but in a lot of that, people are like, oh my god, Appalachia is so creepy, so creepy. What's your creepy story? And it'd be somebody responds to it and they're like, I've lived in Appalachia my entire life. I've never heard anything weird. I hate it when people, talk shit about Appalachia and say it's horrible and it's weird and blah 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 and this and that. It's a beautiful country, right? But it's country. Like it's very isolated. There's pockets of people that have been like kind of self-sustaining for generations at this point.
Yeah.
And yeah, they do life their own way. There's not a lot of law enforcement that goes out there. There's not a lot of education. There's not a lot of jobs, not a lot of money.
That's
You
the
gotta like do your own
scariest
shit.
thing when they like there's not a lot of law enforcement. Not to say that like law enforcement awesome,
Right.
but you know what I mean? Like they have their own law enforcement. So
Yeah.
their law enforcement is also influenced by like whatever they believe.
Yeah.
Which so is ours. But
it's-
do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's kind of
Yeah.
like they're the Appalachian version of hood justice.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Or like living like on a reservation. Do you know what I mean? There's like it's like it's there, but it's like separate, you know?
Yeah.
So if you're not from there, you don't necessarily know like what the literally what the rules are.
Yeah.
And you just assume like, oh, it's the same land. And it's like, it is, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's again, I know it's kind of weird to like start out a spooky podcast with a don't worry, there's nothing supernatural going on, but
Scary.
yeah, don't be scared. But I'm also going to read you a couple of Reddit responses that
Scare the shit out of you.
yeah, were like interesting, and I haven't been able to vet any of these, but they all sound relatively real. And
The skinwalker thing actually scares the fuck out of me. I'm not kidding. Like I fully believe it's real.
there's some crazy videos.
The reason I believe in skinwalkers is because like it's corroborated by like Native Americans, like the skinwalker like folklore thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I believe in it. Because I don't know, I feel like enough people have the same stories. Why would you like I feel like it's kind of I understand like you have to take into account like logic and science, okay.
Yeah.
But like enough people have the same stories. Everyone can't be lying. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's kind of almost how like every civilization had their own version of the dragon.
Yes,
You know?
they didn't like
It's like,
collaborate.
we don't make it up. Yeah, there
No.
was like we know like ancient China didn't collaborate with like
Yeah,
Aztecs, right?
Right.
Like we know that, but they still both they still came up with like the drew
it
dragons on
looks
like
the
walls and shit.
same. Yeah, I really believe in skinwalkers. Like I'm really obsessed with skinwalkers. Actually, there's like the stories where not even the ones where you hear like your mom. There's like that thing of like Appalachia, like if you hear something weird, no, you didn't, like kind of a thing, like just
Yeah.
ignore it.
Hmm.
But it's like you'll hear your mom in the woods, and you're like, I know she's not here.
Oh yeah.
But like some people are like, I heard my own voice. I heard my voice,
Yeah.
and it sounded like a tape recording, but it was like something I'd never said before, like just something like I'm like, well, I don't know what to do with that. Kid.
Yeah.
That's fucking terrifying.
Yep. And people have seen some weird shit. I mean, it's the same way like there's a lot of stories of like people seeing weird shit at sea, right? Like when they're like in the
Mhm.
middle of the ocean. Some of the like same weird shit happens in
Yeah.
the middle of the woods, right? Where
Right.
there's like no cell service, no lights, no city or like civilization or and any sort of man-made structures at all. You just like I don't know why anybody would go all the way out there, but some people do.
Yeah.
And they see some pretty weird shit.
Yeah.
So yeah. So let me pull up a couple of these Reddit stories. So the thread is r/horror. I don't know the name of the person that posted this, but the question is, does anyone have any experience with the Appalachian Mountains? And it's an r/horror, so it's
Mhm.
supposed to be scary, right? So I'm assuming it's a lady.
Okay.
I'm assuming gender.
We're just
Actually.
right now. It's okay.
Because they have a boyfriend.
Okay.
So
all right.
so they say they said
say.
one time for our anniversary, my boyfriend and I rented a cabin somewhere in Blue Ridge, Georgia, the tail end of the Appalachian Mountains. We get there and it's nice. The cabins aren't really placed in the woods, but rather overlook the woods, meaning there's no trees around the cabin, and the forest is actually below the cabin down a very steep hill. It was super cute and cozy, and when the night came, it was still just fine. I'm a little superstitious, and so is my boyfriend, so we more or less understand those unspoken rules of the forest. But my boyfriend got a wild hare, a wild hare, and jokingly let out the shortest, faintest whistle into the night-filled trees. Oh, that's just stupid. Come on. No, you should.
He said, "Hey, yo."
Hey, hey, anybody out there?
Okay.
I think it,
Okay.
I think it was giving some glare. We went back inside, and I locked all the doors and windows and drew the curtains, and eventually we went to sleep. I remember drifting off to sleep when I heard 3 solid knocks on the front door, evenly paced, loud and clear. I ignored it and decided it was the ice maker in the fridge. It's probably the wind.
I don't know.
It's probably the wind. And after a while longer, I thought I heard rain, and I thought it was so atmospheric and cozy to be in a cabin with my boyfriend when it rained. Perfect ambiance for sleep.
Love that for you, Gilly.
I know, right? And then it dawned on me there wasn't enough raindrops for it to be rain. Okay. And the raindrops seemed to travel from one side of the roof to the other. It wasn't rain. Something was walking on the roof. There was nothing else it could be. The cadence of the steps and the sound being isolated to where this thing was walking. I tried to explain it. Maybe it was an animal, but no animal would hop across the roof like that at night. No animal would sound so much like 2 feet walking. The cabin is also 2 stories tall, and there are no trees near the cabin. The roof is flat metal with no place for an animal to rest. I feel like a flat metal, you'd be able to rest on the whole. Whatever, I believe her. Just believe her.
Yeah.
Just believe her, okay?
She was there. We weren't.
There was no real way for an animal to get onto the roof, and no reason for it to make so much noise at night.
Like, shut up.
Jesus Christ, there's no reason for that.
It's 9 p.m.
No reason for you to be awake. Go the fuck to sleep.
Go to sleep.
Yeah. The next morning, my boyfriend asked me if I heard the noises too. Neither of us could figure it out. What it had been, and it didn't show back up the second night. We stayed. Don't make noise at night. Don't whistle. Don't talk. Don't yell. You don't know what's listening.
Okay. I have some thoughts.
You're not buying it. What?
So her boyfriend was like into the
Yeah.
woods, and then like something was like on the roof. I
Yeah.
was like, oh fuck.
There's nothing it could have been, Summer.
Not one thing.
Nothing.
Nothing except a demon. I don't know what happened. Like she went on vacation, and her boyfriend was like too loud.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Dude's just trying to smoke a cigarette on the
Yeah.
fucking roof. Sorry. God forbid a guy have hobbies.
Yeah. God forbid.
I think it was a demon.
Yes.
Yeah, an Appalachian demon. Let me see. Oh, this one was pretty interesting.
Okay.
So this story comes from r/Appalachia, and the question is it true that the Appalachian Mountains are haunted? Now, a lot of people in this thread were like, no, it's not haunted, blah, 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 all that boring shit, right? And then this one came, and this is like a supernatural one. This is a very natural one.
Okay.
Yeah. So I won't go into all of them. I'm assuming she means all of the stories that she has. But I'll share one of them. It happened when I was a kid, maybe 8 to 10 years old. I was a daddy's girl and wanted to do everything he did. I begged him to take me hunting with him, and occasionally he'd give in and agree to take me squirrel hunting. This one time in the fall, most of the leaves were off the trees, but it wasn't super cold. So I'm guessing maybe it was late October, early November.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, I was an absolute chatterbox of a child. Same. Never took a breath. You have to be quiet when squirrel hunting. So my dad walked me over to this huge rock on top of a flat and sat me down on a fallen tree near it and told me not to move and be quiet. Stay here, don't move. He was gonna go over the hill and try to get some squirrels, and he'd be back shortly. Aw, it's so cute. He's like, yeah, I'll take you, but you stay here.
Yes, over there.
I'm gonna go a mountain away.
Yep.
And
you're 8 years old.
And do my hunting right in the middle of the woods.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay. Shortly could mean 10 minutes or an hour to my dad. I hated when my parents
That's
did that.
it's really scary. That's
Yeah.
scary. Yeah.
Anyway, I sat there for what seemed like forever, quiet as a church mouse because there's nobody to talk to. I fiddled with the leaves and sticks and scratched pictures in the dirt. That brings a lot of memories of just like messing with shit as a kid, you know, because like you
Yeah.
didn't have a phone.
You didn't.
Yeah.
You were little. You just be like playing with some rocks.
I feel
and then you
like
just play with some dirt. and,
kids, we were like the last generation of kids to like touch grass.
literally, we were
Yeah.
like we
Just
had
90s babies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me and my brother would like dress up in our Halloween costumes, and we'd go in the yard and play pretend for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
We would have like Nerf swords, and we would like be making a world.
Yeah. You go outside. You
Yeah.
play outside.
Yeah.
What the
It's like
fuck?
insane.
Yeah. Kids don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
I feel like it's hurting America.
Anyway.
Anyway, let me see. You know, the usual stuff a kid does when alone in the woods. At one point, I was sitting on the tree and I leaned back against another one with my head tilted straight up, looking at the sky, listening to the trees talk. I felt an energy shift. The hair on the back of my neck and my arms stood up and I had goosebumps. I moved my head down and look in front of me, and there's a man standing amongst the trees staring right at me. My whole body started tingling. I was absolutely frozen in fear. It felt like we stared at each other for several minutes, but was really probably only 30 seconds. He turned to his right to walk away and simply disappeared. I sat there on high alert with my heart pounding until my dad came back to get me. I heard him shoot a few times, and he didn't sound that far away, so that comforted me some. I don't know how long it was. I sat there after that. When he came back, I started to tell him about what I saw, and he said, "Hush, don't talk about it here." He didn't seem alarmed by what I was saying. We were pretty far walk from home, up on a mountain, so it took us about an hour to get back. When we did finally arrive home, as we were cleaning the squirrels, I asked him if I could tell him what I saw. He said he already knew, and talking about it only gave it strength. So just let it go and stop bringing it up. We never talked about it again. I went squirrel hunting with him after that many times and never saw it again. I have no idea who or what it was. He's been dead for 27 years now. The father, I'm assuming, died when I was 15, so I never got the chance as an adult to ask him about it. What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, so first of all, like you trust your parents the most. You trust your parents the most. And like because of the way society's set up, like fathers are seen as the ones who are the most like um
Protectors.
they're protectors, yeah, and they're the most like defense savvy, you know? So imagine you're 8 and your father is like, "Don't talk about that here." It
Yeah.
just gives it power. Like that would
Gives it power.
not him or her.
Yeah.
You're like, "Dad, there was a man. He was like staring at me." He's like, "I know what you saw. Don't talk about it here."
Don't talk about
I would have pissed my pants.
it. Yeah.
That's so terrifying.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And then
Yeah,
she
it's
just
wild.
didn't even get to ask, like, "Hey, what the fuck was that?" Like, she never got to ask him that.
Yeah.
So that just lives with her as an adult. Like, oh,
and like
there was
he
something.
and he already knew. He was like, I know.
That's so scary.
Don't talk about it.
Like, the confidence of that is scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially because she heard him shoot
hmm
like nearby.
Like, what was he shooting at? Squirrels?
Squirrels.
That's so scary.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's just waiting for so long. That's terrifying. Yeah. I hate that. I hate that and I love that. I hate it.
Let me see. Granny.
Granny.
Okay, this is a granny one. Yeah. All right. So again, this one's from r/Appalachia.
Okay.
The question is, I'd love to hear your spooky Appalachia stories. Okay. And again, I don't know who this is from. I wish I could tell you the Reddit like handles because sometimes they're pretty funny.
Yeah.
Oh well.
r/big boobies. Anyway, the spooky thing happened to me.
Yeah, this spooky. Right. My granny lived in a cabin on 7 acres in Appalachian, Virginia. No cable or internet. Stand naked in your driveway and the neighbors won't see kind of place.
Love that.
Yeah, honestly. After she died when I was in high school, we moved there. I never found the creepy place, but it scared the ever-loving shit out of me and all my friends. Some background. Granny had been digging and found a very long bone buried in the hillside next to a very old liquor bottle.
I don't like that.
What that means, I have no idea. It was completely glass on two sides of the main room. Everyone always says they feel like someone is watching them. It's wooded on one side and mountains on the other. It was completely glass on two sides of the main room. She's talking about the house now.
Yeah.
I think it's wooded on one side and mountains on the other. Got it.
She's doing her best. She's traumatized by this. She's doing her best.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Poor girl. I had 3 girls over to stay the night. I had passed out. Hell yeah. Cheers. I had passed out, but they were all wide awake because they were scared. My parents were asleep. Wait, are we missing something here?
So it sounds like there's a creepy bone that was found, and now she's describing a time she was having a sleepover in a creepy house near the bone.
Okay. Oh, okay. I just gotta keep reading.
Yeah.
Shut up, Chris. Stop asking questions. Okay. I had passed out, but they were all wide awake because they were scared. My parents were asleep. They said they all distinctly heard a coin drop on the floor and roll down the hallway. There was a tunnel about a quarter mile up the road from the cabin's driveway. Nothing to do in that town. Teenagers sacrificed animals in there in the 90s, as one does.
Right.
Everyone says it's demonic. When a couple of the same friends and I were coming up under the tunnel at night, something was in the road, and I almost hit it. It was fleshy and twisted, bigger than a raccoon and smaller than a person. I was driving, so I didn't look back, but my friend turned around and got a better look at it. I, to this day, have no idea what that creature was. Stop going under the bridge at night. Another time, coming under the tunnel by myself in broad daylight, the radio cut out as soon as I was coming into the curb of the tunnel entrance and started playing a very disturbing and garbled clip of Mickey Mouse Clubhouse.
Hell no. Crazy.
It sounds funny, but it was chilling. Every hair on my body stood up. As soon as I was away from the bridge, the radio signal came back, and I drove under it all the time and never had a problem.
Several problems, from what I can hear.
I think I didn't screenshot the right part.
And everybody clapped. That's the end.
Thanks. Good job, Chris.
Well, that was like fucking like, what was the end gonna be? There wasn't gonna be like
I don't know.
Scientific report. What you saw.
Yeah. Oh, and it was spooky. Ooh.
It's really scary though. Like, so when you live in the country, you see roadkill all the time.
Mhm.
You just are seeing gore all the time. So I can imagine like driving and like you're like, oh, the radio is really weird. And then you see something in the road that
Like this weird twisted ball of like flesh.
you don't know.
Something
what
like
it is.
AI. Have you seen those AI videos? It's just
I
like,
won't watch it because you're talking about. Yeah, I won't.
so gross.
I won't watch it. Like Cronenberg's, like
Yeah.
disgusting.
Mhm.
But yeah, I can't like fathom seeing that. One time, this guy I knew, his name doesn't matter, but he said that he was like parked by the woods
Mm.
and he got out of his car to like check on it, and a woman crawled out of the woods of like the back of her, like a crab crawled like out of the woods, and she looked like fucked up and sick and like scary and shit. Hopped his car, drove away, and I'd be like, "That's bullshit. You didn't see that." But like, he was like crying when he told the story, like a grown man.
That's wild.
Yeah, so I was like, so now every time I'm by the woods, I'm like, the fuck was that?
Yeah.
Because like why would he cry? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he doesn't like to talk about it. We had to like pull it out of him.
Really?
And he
Like really,
began to-
really freaked
And
him
we're
out.
like, no, what did you see? Like, what did you see? And when he started crying.
My
Yeah.
Gosh.
So
Jesus
definitely think
Christ.
cryptids are real.
Cryptids.
Cryptids.
Let me find another one.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I want a rake story.
A rake story?
The rake, yeah.
What's the rake?
A skinwalker. Like a really scary one.
Yeah?
Yeah.
The rake. I can't believe Kick is still up.
Huh?
Kick is still up working. It's not even that late. Oh, it's only 10.
It's done, yeah.
Yeah.
So the rake is a fictional, hairless, humanoid creature.
You're talking about.
The rake. It's like ASMR. The rake.
Wait, fix the camera. Sit down, normal.
Oh, my
There we
phone's
go.
charging.
Oh, okay.
Okay. The rake is a
It's at
fictional.
100%.
Shut up. It's a fictional, hairless, humanoid creature with a blank face and glowing eyes, often associated with creepypasta stories and urban legends. While it's been attributed to Appalachia in the southern United States, the rake primarily originated online, particularly on sites like 4chan and creepypasta. So it's like a skinwalker, right? But it's like
Mhm.
final boss skinwalker. Like it's kind of the like idea of what people think a skinwalker like is and like can do
I feel like I've seen video games
with the rake in
where
it.
you like tap the rake
Yeah.
and then you run. You just run away and then
You like ding dong ditch him.
yeah, and it's like and then it starts following you. And you
Yeah.
have to run away and you always die, but
Yeah.
you just see how far you can get.
It's supposed to have like really long, like sharp fingers.
Yeah.
And like
okay.
it's like cannibalistic and it like
Mhm.
super fast.
Yeah. Okay, so this one's from r/Appalachian Trail.
Mm-hmm.
The question is, what are your creepiest stories/encounters on this trail? So this person says, oh, I was so close to screenshotting their name, but darn it. Whatever. Section hiking with my fiance around Winding Stair Gap in North Carolina. I think I've actually been there before. Stopped in the middle of the trail to prep for safety meeting. It was just her and the fiance that were having a safety meeting, I guess.
What wasn't safe? What needs to what did they need to go over?
Well, like I get a safety meeting, but only if you're in like a group of people. If it's like you and me,
It's just a conversation.
like, hey, hang on, we're gonna have a safety meeting.
Can we have a meeting?
Wait, hang on, stop. No, we need to meet
Yeah.
about safety.
Okay.
They're type A for sure.
Should I take notes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I printed some out.
Okay.
Yeah, so you don't have to take notes.
The minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. No, I love that. I love type A people. I really do. Like, I respect it because I'm not. Anyway, stop in the middle of the trail to prep for safety.
For our safety.
What nerds? They're probably so safe.
They're
though.
like walking around. So like we need to have a safety meeting.
Like, they get their oil changed every whatever 3,000 miles.
Before they need to. Like, just in case. Like meeting is crazy. Like, meeting.
Right? Oh my
Yeah. Like I
gosh.
made an outline for this safety meeting.
Like, you didn't know about our meeting? I
Yeah.
sent you an email about it 2
We're
days
in
ago.
the forest. Like there's only two of us.
The forest was spooky silent. No birds, no bugs, no wind. Neither of us were talking, then all of a sudden, 30 yards off trail and downslope, 4 to 6 trees the size of baseball bats started violently shaking. Whop, 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 whop. She wrote that. There's no spaces, and it's WHOMP womp with 2 exclamations, and then
Yep.
repeat that 4 times.
Okay.
Womp, 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 womp.
T. Beautiful.
Then silence. Nothing. I thought maybe a bear had decided to climb out of a tree, or maybe a tree fell. It was neither, not even close. The hair on my body stood on end, and I felt an overwhelming urge to leave immediately. What can shake trees so violently? On another section hike, that would be the end of my section hiking, to be honest with you. That's kind of, or at least for a while,
Right.
like let whatever that was.
I'm good on this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's doing, stuff's happening. Let's, let it
I don't
happen.
need to be a part of it.
Mhm.
Right.
Do your thing, Forrest, and then I'll come back later when you're
ready.
when you're calm.
You're ready to be respectful.
Yeah. On another section hike, this time I was camping on Trey Mountain in Georgia. Was relaxing post dinner on a rock outcrop with 2 other hikers, a father and a son. We're discussing satellites and watching as they moved across the clear, cold night sky. I was watching what I thought was a satellite until the object stopped abruptly. It shot across the sky in the opposite direction, zoomed back across the night sky, bolted downwards towards the skyline, then once more back up and then vanished. I took a minute to digest what I saw. Before I could get the full sentence, did you guys see that? Out of my mouth, they both replied, yep. But satellites don't change direction or move like that. I feel like that was just a drone.
Aliens?
A drone.
Right.
I think it was a drone.
You think it was a drone?
We've heard so many stories about lights in the night sky doing weird stuff. It's like it's just drones. It's drones.
But also aliens.
Yeah.
You know?
One can hope, I suppose.
I feel like it's insane to believe like we're the only life here, you know? Even just like here, like a lot of the ocean is unexplored. You know?
Yeah. Atlantis is real, aliens are real. Thanks
Yeah.
for coming on this podcast with us. It's been a good time. We learned about the toxic lady and how spooky and creepy, but also not spooky and creepy Appalachia is.
It's spooky and creepy.
But not if you grew up there.
Okay.
Then you get it. And it's not spooky and creepy. And all of its secrets have been revealed to you. But thank you so much. What are we doing next week? I forget. Or the week after. I forget.
Oh,
Something cool.
something terrifying.
We should do Albert Fish. I really want to do Albert Fish.
Do Albert Fish.
Okay.
We'll let you have that.
I
Demands.
will take Albert Fish for sure. So crazy.
Oh my God. After that, the tequila talk is just going to be prayer. It's
Yeah.
just going to be,
It should be
let's join hands.
a real actual like
Yeah.
demon, like a demon in a human meat suit.
Yeah.
Godly. Yeah. Anyways, so Albert Fish is coming up and a couple other ones. Stay tuned. We love you.